Welcome back to The Lost Tactician, where we uncover the hidden strategies, ingenuity, and brutal realities of warfare throughout history. I'm your host, and today we're diving into something most people overlook entirely: the forgotten field rations that kept millions of soldiers alive during World War II. When we think of military food, we picture MREs. But what did soldiers eat before MREs existed? What sustained them when supply lines were severed and weeks stretched into months without a warm meal? Imagine fighting a war with nothing but a handful of biscuits, a bar of chocolate designed to taste deliberately bad, and sheer determination. Today we'll discover the incredible, often bizarre, and absolutely ingenious forgotten rations of World War II. Provisions so clever that they literally changed military food forever. The development of World War II-era field rations reveals a fascinating collision between wartime urgency and scientific principle. Military nutritionists faced, honestly, some unprecedented questions. How do you preserve fresh protein? How do you make chocolate that won't melt in the desert? And how do you pack maximum calories into minimum weight? Military food scientists discovered that soldiers in active combat burned calories at extraordinary rates, sometimes exceeding 5,000 calories per day. Every ration had to be calorie-dense but light enough to carry. The innovation extended to packaging itself. Waxed cardboard kept moisture out, kept food in, and weighed almost nothing. Tin plate cans provided airtight seals that preserved cooked meals for years. Researchers discovered that oxygen removal was critical, leading to experiments with nitrogen injection and vacuum sealing, techniques that, interestingly enough, became standard in civilian food industries decades later. Rations were field-tested with actual combat units, complaints collected, and formulations adjusted. The military understood that a ration that demoralized troops would ultimately fail, even if it provided necessary calories. So they balanced nutritional requirements against morale. The accounts from soldiers paint a complicated picture: genuine gratitude mixed with creative complaints and dark humor. Soldiers in the Pacific reported that melted D rations mixed with water created something approximating hot chocolate. The chocolate bars became currency, traded for cigarettes, letters from home, or favors. The K ration, designed for short-term use, became infamous because soldiers often ate it for weeks on end. The monotony was psychologically brutal, yet paradoxically, these rations preserved lives. Soldiers received calculated, planned nutrition instead of scavenging or suffering malnutrition. The K ration was boring, but it was reliable. Soldiers developed remarkable creativity. Canned ham would be fried and combined with hardtack biscuits. Instant coffee was saved and combined with other rations. These adaptations reveal something important about human resilience. Given constraints, people improvise and find dignity in small choices. The psychological dimension cannot be overstated. Eating represented control and continuity in total chaos. A soldier knew that opening his ration kit would yield predictable contents. In a war where death could come suddenly, where orders changed hourly, the ration represented stability, essential to mental survival as much as physical survival. The impact of World War II-era field rations extends far beyond the battlefields. The innovations became the foundation for modern emergency provisions, survival food, and ultimately the MRE system adopted in 1981. The conceptual breakthroughs were threefold. Individual sealed meals could be superior to bulk provisions. Packaging technology was as important as the food itself, and human factors, morale, psychology, and choice, mattered as much as caloric content. The food science innovations, vacuum sealing, nitrogen injection, calorie-dense formulation, heat-resistant emulsification, became standard in civilian food production. Modern humanitarian rations trace their lineage back to these wartime innovations. High-altitude energy bars used by mountaineers and astronauts are direct descendants of the D-ration concept. Perhaps most significantly, World War II rations established that feeding soldiers was not a secondary concern, but a strategic issue directly affecting combat effectiveness. Armies that fed their troops reliably performed better and maintained higher morale. History teaches us that human survival depends on small, carefully considered details. World War II, soldiers survived on deliberately unappetizing rations, chocolate bars designed to taste bad, tooth-breaking biscuits and canned meals eaten for months. They survived because scientists and logisticians calculated calories, selected ingredients, engineered packaging, and field-tested everything until it worked. These forgotten rations represent something essential about human resilience and ingenuity. They remind us that when survival matters, innovation happens. These provisions kept millions alive and proved that carefully applied science could sustain human life, even in humanity's darkest chapter. Today, when we reach for emergency rations, military MREs, survival kits, or humanitarian aid, we're using technology developed by soldiers eating D-bars in foxholes. Their work echoes through decades, proving that the most important victories often come not from heroic gestures, but from someone quietly ensuring that the next meal will arrive on time. If you found this exploration fascinating, subscribe to The Lost Tactician. Hit that like button and share this with anyone interested in military history, survival skills, or how humans persevere against impossible odds. The Lost Tactician, where history meets strategy and the past illuminates the present. Thank you for watching.